continuing with today's Women of Power, Women of Grace theme, I am very excited to bring to you Kimberlin Brown Pelzer. And the thing that's interesting to me about the election in California, where you're running,
Right.
is that it's almost exclusively Democratic. Like there are going to be two, if in the general election, it looks like there'll be two Democrats for governor. All the Senate positions will be contests with governors. So for you as a Republican,
Right.
to go into your district, which was, became Democratic in 2012, I think that takes a lot of guts. And and I think I think it takes something special to take on a challenge like that. So what made you decide to do that?
Well, first off, Minda, thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it more than you know. And it is a violent California right now. I guess there's no other way to put it. It's full of hate and controversy, and I can't take that any longer. I can't have people telling me what they want me to say and what I'm supposed to say. I feel like I've been on the ground kicked for entirely too long, and I'm not going to be kicked any longer. And I'm not the only person in the state of California that feels this way. And for the first time in the history of our country, we're not leaving something better for our youth. And you and I, and your audience, unfortunately, we're going to be a part of that generation that leaves a worse off America than the one we inherited from our parents and our grandparents. And I am horrified of being that person. I needed to stand up. I need to use my voice. I'm tired of having it taken away. My children's voice is being taken away and molded in a way that the progressive in the state of California wants it to go. And it's not going to happen any longer. I'm running for Congress. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to take our voice to Washington because it hasn't been heard for too long.
And what is that voice going to say? How is your message different than what's being played over the airways, what we're hearing all the time?
Well, my voice is different immediately because I'm a small business owner. Most people know me as an actress, but what they don't know about me is my husband and I put our dollars to work for us. And we employ over 100 people in the state of California, 180 during our busiest time of year. So I have my finger on the pulse of small business owners and employees that work for small business. Let's talk about Obamacare, that never was repealed, never replaced. My employees used to get any plan that they wanted, and I paid 75% of that plan. Under Obamacare, they get to choose between their three packages, and the majority of them choose the lower one because
plan.
It's what they could afford, and they pay for their insurance and they pay for their medical too because they can't afford a $5,000 deductible. So where is the benefit in that to anybody on Obamacare when a family of four have to literally take on two jobs just to afford the medical insurance for their family today? And even when they have that medical insurance, they're still paying for their medical services because it's basically a catastrophic insurance plan. Mm-hmm. It's not what they were allowed to keep, and their doctors that they were told that they could hold on to. And if they didn't want to change their plan, they didn't have to.
Right, and the costs have gone up not only for individuals, but it's also gone up for businesses.
It's gone up for businesses, it's gone up for individuals. In October, it's going up again, and it's going up significantly. So if people are upset with what they have happening already, wait until October, because that's when it's scheduled for the automatic increases every October. So when I have a manager that works for me, that's been with me for years, and then leaves to go to another company who promises them their insurance, and we tell them it's not going to stay that way. I don't know what they've told you, and then sure enough, they're coming back 3 months later asking for their jobs because those businesses that promised them their insurance wasn't able to manage that. Under Obamacare, they make it impossible for small business to succeed. And it's not just Obamacare. I mean, if you look at the recent tax cuts that we've just received, and you look at what's happening to the economy today, it's because of those tax breaks. You know, as a small business owner, I was not able to expense equipment for my company over a 1-year period. It was over a multi-year period, which means, you know, half of the equipment that I was replacing, I couldn't even expense before the life of the product. Now, small businesses all across the United States can expense within that first year. So what are they doing? They're putting money into their business for the first time that they haven't been able to in years. And now we see unemployment going down. We see the strongest economy in 40 plus years. And yet these are things that the media doesn't want to tell you about because they don't want to give credit to President Trump for getting this passed. Yet we're seeing the differences. The lowest unemployment within the Latino community in the history of our country, the lowest unemployment within the African American community in the history of our country. And we need to start electing people that have business experience that can continue down this path for all of us. Because it's only going to get better from here on out if we continue down this cycle.
So with economic improvement, you see that as you are an advocate for economic improvement.
Absolutely.
You also see yourself as an advocate for affordable health care.
Absolutely.
So let's say they repealed Obamacare. Do you have any thoughts on what kind of programs you would bring to replace it? Or are you thinking about maybe people having their own money to buy their own health care? Are you thinking...
I think choice is a huge thing. I mean, when we pigeonhole people into the specific bronze plan, the gold plan, and so on and so forth, there is no choice. You know, a 22-year-old young man doesn't need to be buying, you know, medical coverage for his family's pregnancy and birth and so on and so forth. That's something that comes later, you know, when he's planning for a family and all the rest. But there's no choice right now.
Yeah, and that 22-year-old man not only pays for pregnancy for his current or future girlfriend, but he also pays for pregnancy for himself.
Exactly. And we need to create plans that are specific to certain needs. We had that pretty much before Obamacare. How we get back to something like that still makes healthcare affordable for those that are less fortunate and need that care, you know, that's something that we all have to work on, obviously. Do I have an answer to put on the table to you today? I don't. No, because I have been meeting with people in Washington, and I've been meeting with people at Health and Human Services to find out exactly what we need to do to make it successful for all Americans that want to buy into our health care program. I do not believe that single payer is the answer. There are those of you in California that, not you, but people in California that believe that that's the path that we should travel down, and across the United States on the Democratic side of the aisle mostly. But when you look at what single payer is, if you had a cup, and I put an egg in that cup for you, and I put an egg in that cup for me and anybody else here, okay, that's single payer. And that cup is full. But what they don't tell you about single payer is they want to put the VA in there, they want to put Medi-Cal, they want to put Medicaid in there. Is the cup getting any bigger?
No.
No.
No, I understand. If you look at what happened in Vermont when they tried the single payer experiment, tax rates were estimated to go up 10% per person.
Exactly.
In order to fund it, and then the coverage was diminished under single payer. So I understand your point.
Yeah, and when California was looking to go towards single payer, once the budget came in, they realized it was unaffordable.
Exactly.
It would bankrupt the entire state.
So, and you also seem to be working in an agricultural district too. So
I am.
So, what are your thoughts on how we could improve things for people who are in that business? Because it's very important to our state.
Oh, it's very important to our state, absolutely. You know, I think one of the biggest concerns that our agriculture growers here have, especially in Coachella Valley, is getting workers to come and work for them. Now, as far as the illegal immigration problem that we have in the state, they don't want that either. But we need to come up with some sort of a comprehensive worker program so that these people can come in, work for the farmers, pick their lettuce, pick their peppers, and go home again. That's all they want. They want some sort of a comprehensive, and not to bring in illegals that are doing harm to our communities, but allowing people that simply want to come in, work for the season, and go home. We need to have some sort of a comprehensive visa for them to come in, work for our farmers, and then return to their country after the season.
Well, temporary work visas exist already, so you're just discussing expanding that opportunity to people who want to work in farm.
But we have to have temporary work visas where the laws are followed. You know, we have visas, there's no doubt about that, but we have to have a system, and especially with the technology that we currently have in our country today, with, you know, finger scanning, retina scanning, all of the facial recognition. We need some sort of a program where when they come into the country, they know exactly where that worker is going, exactly what farm that worker is going to, exactly how long they will be there, and the date that they are supposed to return to their country.
Makes a lot of sense.
And we have that technology today. We simply don't utilize it.
So it sounds like you're very pragmatic in your approach to things, just like any businesswoman would be.
Well, you know what? There are too many decisions being made today based on emotion instead of common sense. I grew up knowing right from wrong, and we're in a very gray world right now where I think people want to do the right thing, but there are so many people pushing the wrong. And we've got to get back to making sound, good decisions and being honest again for the American public that elects us into office to work for them. Everyone goes to Washington with the best of intentions, and they get there and they become their own brand of celebrity. And they're afraid to make the tough decisions for the American people because they don't want to lose their job. I'm not going there because I need a job. I'm actually giving up an incredibly lucrative career to go to Washington because I want the job. I want to make a difference. I will not be a career politician. I'll get in there, I will do my job, I will do what's best for the people of America, and then I'll go back to the private sector.
So we see again, Kimberlin Brown Pelzer is another woman of power, woman of grace, who's made a commitment beyond herself. She's looking outside her lucrative business, her family life, to try to do something to impact the American people. And we wish her luck.